Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Ghostbusters 3. Apparently, there is a chance that they're going to do a proper sequel to the original two Ghostbusters movies with the remaining original cast. Unfortunately, Harold Ramis will not be part of it. R.I.P. Harold Ramis.
But they've been saying for a while now they were going to do this. I mean, this is nothing new. He's been saying for a while.
Dan Aykroyd, yeah, he's been pushing Ghostbusters 3 for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Like literally, I remember old movie message boards from the 1990s, the late 1990s. Dan Aykroyd was pushing a concept for Ghostbusters 3. I think it was called Hell on Earth, where demons were going to come to New York or something like that. I don't quite remember, but it just never happened. It never happened.
Sounds like it would have been cool, though.
Yeah, it sounds like it would have been cool. But you know, there's a definite demand for 80s reboots now, 80s sequels.
No, yeah. This is not, no. The difference is, this is not a reboot. This would not be a reboot. You know, because I'm so sick flippin' death of stupid reboots. This would be a sequel. There's a difference.
Yeah, this would be a sequel. Now, a little bit of history here. Ghostbusters 2016, of course, was a colossal fan-dividing debacle. They call it a controversy in the Cinema Blend article, but it was more than a controversy. It was like really like, I mean, Ghostbusters 2016 was sort of the first example of the studios using progressivism to attack a fan base.
Right.
And of course, we saw more of this with Star Wars and Marvel Comics, and we're kind of seeing it with She-Ra now.
Oh, there's no kind of.
Yeah,
She-Ra,
and you know, this is sort of the first example. And the thing is, in all of these examples, studio marketing departments attacking fandoms, directors attacking fandoms. It never ends well.
No.
You know, it never ends well. But Ghostbusters 2016 was definitely one of the first examples of that. Tons and tons of downvotes on the trailer, and people just blamed it, chalked it all up to misogyny. Well, then the movie came out and it tanked the box office.
I mean, the movie wasn't it wasn't all encompassing terribleness. Our daughter actually likes that one. There were some good parts to it, but a couple actors were okay. I like Holtzman. Holtzman's like the one character I like.
Yeah, Holtzman was. Yeah, Kate McKinnon was pretty good.
Yeah, she's the only one I liked.
I'll give him that.
But the stupid dance scene.
Oh God.
I mean, It was just like, why? And it's just, if they had made it a sequel instead of a reboot, and if they had like got the original Ghostbusters back, and these were like their kids. And they were like taking over and done something like that, and it was like not all girls, it had been like some guys, some girls. I think it would have done a lot better. I think the fact that they really were pushing this, they even let off with all female Ghostbusters, because not Ghostbusters, not a new Ghostbusters, all female Ghostbusters.
Who you gonna call? Not the men.
Yeah, if they had, oh my God. If they had made it more fair, I think it would have done better.
Yeah, I think. I mean, look, it wasn't completely. It was a completely unnecessary movie. The movie did not need to exist. It was not what fans wanted. Objectively, it was not a completely terrible movie. I think it did have parts that were good. Like you said, Holtzman.
Holtzman was good. I liked Holtzman.
If they were gonna do it, I'd be like, make the 2016 Ghostbusters a sequel. Keep as much of the original cast as you can, and then since Harold Ramis has departed, make Holtzman Harold Ramis's daughter.
Yeah.
That actually would have worked for me, and I think most people would be on board with that. Now, the logic behind them making it a complete reboot, as I understand it, is director Paul Feig wanted these ghostbusting women to come up with their own stuff. They wanted them to have their own gear and their own, but what we got was a watered down origin story, sort of almost a beat for beat remake of the original Ghostbusters, but we've already seen it.
Yeah.
If it had been a sequel, like you said, and they tweaked it a little bit, people might have actually been okay with it.
People are like, about these kind of movies, well, it was all men. It wasn't fair to have it all men. So, of course, the logical conclusion of this is we have to make it all women instead.
Yeah.
Because if you're yelling it's all fair because it's not fair because it's all one gender, the answer is not to make it all the other gender. The answer is to meet somewhere in the middle and make a mixed cast. Some of the best shows, I think, out there, movies, ever, anything, animation, whatever, they have a mixed cast. It's not just one gender only. And I think that was a mistake.
Yeah.
But anyway, go on to the important things. Ghostbusters 3.
The important thing is, I think that Columbia Pictures wants to, or Sony wants to, wash Ghostbusters 2016 out of its out of its hair. So according to a recent interview with Dan Aykroyd, there is a possibility of a reunion with the 3 remaining Ghostbusters. Is being written right now. I know, Dan, you've been writing a Ghostbuster story for 3 years now. The big holdup, as I understand, has always been Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Bill Murray.
He says that later on,
yeah,
too.
so he go through here and he says possibility. It's not a guarantee. Given the countless false starts the thing has had over the years, perhaps he thought it was best not to promise it happening or announce that shooting begins next year, but he's also trying to avoid disappointment if things fall apart. Now, those caveats aside, there is a glimmer of hope once again for those wanting more of the Ghostbusters they grew up with. Dan Aykroyd hasn't spoken much about Ghostbusters 3 since a reboot. He probably, well, he was, we're going to talk about that. He was actually pretty scathing about how they handled that. But it seems like he's ready to give this thing another go and reunite Dr. Stantz, of course, Winston, and hopefully Bill Murray's Peter Venkman. Harold Ramis, who played Dr. Egon Spengler, passed away in 2014.
I think it's been that long.
I know, I can't believe it's been that long either. One of the obstacles preventing Ghostbusters 3 from happening over the years has actually been Bill Murray, who never seemed particularly interested, feeling that there was no way to live up to the original. I don't know if I disagree with Bill Murray. It's Ghostbusters, especially the first one. The second one was it was okay. But the first one was a lightning in a bottle. Like that was, I mean, it's still one of the all-time best comedies of the 80s. I mean, it's one of the all-time best. It's probably the at least top 10, if not top 5 80s movies, the original Ghostbusters. Dan Aykroyd also addressed the Bill Murray of it in his interview, sounding hopeful Venkman will return. I think Billy will come. The story's so good, even if he plays a ghost. Yeah, he wanted to play a ghost. I guess that was
what I heard too.
Yeah, like he wants to get hit by a bus in the first 5 minutes and play a ghost or something. Do not bring Harold Ramis back as a CGI ghost. That would be colossally bad taste. Don't do it. Don't think about it. Don't. Just don't.
Well, no one's saying they would.
No, but this is Hollywood.
No.
You know, they're like, oh, we can bring Harold Ramis back. I'm like, no, do not do that. So Dan Aykroyd had words for Paul Feig. When Ghostbusters 2016 came out, he basically blamed Paul Feig for the death of the franchise.
Really?
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd blasts Ghostbusters director Paul Feig. He will not be back on the Sony lot anytime soon. This is coming from...
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember there being an interview with him on TV. Taking aim at director Paul Feig, Dan Aykroyd said Sunday there will be no sequel to last year's Ghostbusters reboot because Feig spent too much money shooting the film, and he won't be back on the Sony lot anytime soon. Yeah, they spent a lot of money on the movie, and they didn't get anything out of it. Appearing on the morning talk show Sunday Brunch on Britain's Channel 4, Aykroyd, who co-wrote and starred in the original 84 Ghostbusters and is credited as executive producer on the remake, didn't mention Feig by name, but said the director... He's the director. That's cold. Mm-hmm. The director. He spent too much on it, and he didn't shoot scenes we suggested to him.
Oh, there's a surprise.
Several scenes that were going to be needed, he said, no, we don't need them. And then we tested the movie, and they needed them. And he had to go back, about 30 to 40 million in reshoots. So Dan Aykroyd, the man who basically created Ghostbusters, is trying to give Paul Feig direction on how to make a coherent Ghostbusters movie.
Well, what would he know?
What would he know? He's trying to mansplain to Paul Feig, who is also a man.
Yeah, right, but what would he know?
So, Paul Feig did not heed Dan Aykroyd's advice. The marketing behind Ghostbusters 2016 was a colossal failure, and the movie tanked hard.
But Holtzman was good.
Holtzman was good. Like I said, get the original cast back together, make Holtzman the Egon stand-in, and it would have been.
I'd watch a Holtzman movie.
I'd watch a Holtzman. Well, Kate McKinnon. I like Kate McKinnon.
I like her.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, not everybody's happy about this news.
Well, surprise! It's the AV Club. Who would have guessed? Go ahead.
Yeah, the AV Club, one of the friendly media outlets, right? That we talk about, that they're usually like pretty much anything the fandom says. The AV Club goes in the opposite direction. Dan Aykroyd's latest bizarre belief that Bill Murray would ever be in a Ghostbusters 3. Why would he do that? Dan Aykroyd has put his name behind a lot of, let's say, out there ideas over the years. Well, he is a conspiracy theorist and all that, which is actually really interesting. Many of the revolving around the crystal skulls. Okay, so they're not immediately... Okay, so Dan Aykroyd is into...
Which is why you got Ghostbusters in the first place.
Yeah, this is why you got Ghostbusters. Dan Aykroyd is interested in the paranormal. Dan Aykroyd is interested in all of that stuff, UFOs and ghosts and all of that. There's nothing wrong with that, but immediately they're going to be like,
we're going to discredit him.
Yeah, we're going to be like, because Dan Aykroyd is nuts. There never will be a Ghostbusters 3. And
But there wouldn't have been a Ghostbusters 1.
There wouldn't have been a Ghostbusters 1. He wrote Ghostbusters to kind of poke fun at all of these theories he heard about ghosts and all of that. There's actually behind Ghostbusters, there's a kernel of truth to like the ectoplasm and all of that, that, you know, with parapsychology, paranormal investigations.
I almost went to school for parapsychology, actually.
Oh, that would.
I almost did, actually.
Geeky Ghostbuster.
I grew up in a haunted house, so I really considered it, but then I realized that I wouldn't make any money. So,
well, no, actually.
So then I thought, well, I'll do comics.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's the only time that somebody would say, "Yeah, let's do comics," and because we want to make money, let's do comics.
I was so young and stupid.
Anyway, many of his theories revolving around crystal skulls and the life-giving powers and vodka contained within, but none are more bizarre than his continued, dogged, and utterly scientifically unfounded belief that there will ever be a Ghostbusters 3, and that Bill Murray would ever be convinced to get within a mile of it. Dan Aykroyd reiterated those comments recently to fellow Dan Rather on his TV show, The Big Interview, because, hey, what else is Dan Aykroyd going to do with his time?
Oh, wow.
Oh, you bitch. Anyway, as he has so many times before, Dan Aykroyd stated his script for potential direct follow-up to 89's Ghostbusters 2 is being written right now. Well, that is true. Dan Aykroyd has been dangling the Ghostbuster, for years. And he believes there's a possibility that the remaining 3 original Ghostbusters minus Harold Ramis might reunite for I Think Billy Will Come.
Well, let me ask you this. Who would know better? Somebody who knows Bill Murray and talks to him and is, has worked with him before, or the AV Club?
Yeah, right. Have you ever met Bill Murray? I don't know if you've ever met.
I have met Bill Murray.
No, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking. I'm talking about this author.
I know.
Actually, Geeky has met Bill Murray. Geeky has met Bill Murray.
Anyway, but I wouldn't think I could speak for him. So
yeah, this is 100%.
It was literally like a few minutes. It wasn't.
Yeah,
important.
but he was a nice guy, right?
He was very, very nice.
I've heard stories about Bill Murray. He's very nice. So Geeky has met Bill Murray. Geeky has more Bill Murray cred, I'm sure, than William Hughes, but who knows? Maybe William Hughes is actually
his nephew or something.
His nephew, or he hangs out with Bill Murray.
Or his niece. I'm not gonna assume.
So here's the thing. I actually think this could happen. Now, before we talk about that, I want to talk about. There actually has been a Ghostbusters 3.
Yes.
You just didn't know it. Most people just didn't know it.
We did, because we even talked about it at the time.
The Ghostbusters video game that came out in 2009. Now, I don't know.
This is from Den of Geek, so no.
No, this actually is a quote.
We know this is true because we knew about this prior.
So the the basic plot line of Ghostbusters, the 2009 video game, which was excellent. It was an excellent video game.
It was a good game.
We played the snot out of that game. We played that game so much. Got all the original cast together, and Dan Aykroyd was behind it. Everybody reprised their roles. The basic storyline of the Ghostbusters video game was essentially what, at that point, he had planned for Ghostbusters 3.
Right.
So you got Ghostbusters 3, kind of, as a video game in 2009, and that was the last time the entire cast was together,
right?
Playing their role, which is great that they did that. And they didn't have sound alikes or anything. But yeah, he said Dan Aykroyd did say it was essentially the third movie. I do remember reading an interview about that. So the 2009 Ghostbuster game, if you haven't played, I can't believe it's been 10 years since that game came out.
I can't believe it's been 10 years either.
Oh my god, 10 years since it came out. Because we played the Wii version first, and then we got the Xbox version. But yeah, it was a really good game. It was really huge at the time, but then it just sort of I think people forgot that this existed and that this was kind of, almost like canon. It was basically...
Oh, our son loved it.
Yeah, it was cool. We played the snot out of this game. But yeah, it was technically the third Ghostbusters movie. Now, the reason I think we might actually get a legit Ghostbusters 3, and we talked about this, there's a lot more at stake with these franchises than... just the movies. People forget about that, because now we look at, speaking of games, we look at video games. We look at theme parks. Theme parks are huge. We look at, all this tie-in merchandise potential, TV shows.
Well, I guess they've tried to get this turned into a theme park or into a TV series or into a spin-off, or into a universe, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's in the Ghostbusters Cinematic Universe.
And that's what
that would all have been awesome.
Well, 2016 Ghostbusters was supposed to be, I believe, the start of, because then they were talking about doing another movie that would be another group of Ghostbusters and then having a Ghostbuster universe, and it never happened. Now, the IDW Comics actually had a pretty interesting idea. I didn't read them, but they actually crossed I guess
crossed the streams? No.
They crossed the streams. But 2016 Ghostbusters took place in a parallel universe from movie Ghostbusters, which took place in a parallel universe from the cartoon Ghostbusters, and they got them like all together.
That's kind of smart because you're able to put them all, that they all are, in the same. They all have, they're all valid in their own place. You know, that's actually kind of smart. I mean, I'm not going to condone some Ghostbuster series, but I'm just saying it was
try
smart.
To make everybody happy.
I think it's smart. I think it's a really smart thing to do, and then you could cross over different things because there's a rift and we walk through. I mean, it was smart.
Didn't read it.
Not original, but smart.
Some people said it was pretty good. I don't know. But again, that's not canon. It's the comics. It's not canon. But okay, so they want these tentpole franchises. And I think they actually do have a Ghostbusters. I gotta look, but I think they have a Ghostbusters attraction overseas in like Saudi Arabia or something. I think they have, or Dubai. They have a Ghostbusters attraction. But I can see like you.
Well, they had a like a VR experience with Ghostbusters.
Okay.
I know they were doing that, and there might be attraction too. But I know they had different places. One of the earlier like those VR augmented reality, virtual reality things was a Ghostbusters one.
Yeah.
One of the first ones was a Ghostbusters one.
So the point here being is that the studios are looking for franchises they can take to the bank beyond the movies. Ghostbusters is a huge 80s icon. 80s stuff is back.
That's what I was going to say. Why would this matter? 80s stuff is huge right now,
80s
obviously.
stuff is huge. The original Ghostbusters got a shout out in Stranger Things. There's renewed interest in the franchise.
I can't tell you how many Ghostbusters costumes I saw this year with kids. A whole bunch. And I guarantee it was because of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Because they have the cast there and dressed as Ghostbusters, talking about being Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. And I saw a lot of Ghostbusters this year.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
so it's back. I mean, it's back, but people are, I think, the studio is like, okay, 2016 was a horrible mistake. Let's just kind of pretend this didn't happen and go forward with the original cast and a sequel to the original and try to revive the franchise that way. Yeah, I think it's going to happen. They put money. I could actually picture, and I don't know what went on behind the scenes, but I could picture Dan Aykroyd telling them, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea.
Yeah, what would he know? What would he know about what makes Ghostbusters work? He just, wrote it.
Right, and it happened. It played out. It played badly. Most people have already forgotten about 2016 Ghostbusters. I could see them just being like, yeah, that was a one-off. Step over it, pretend it didn't happen, move forward with the Ghostbusters 3, turn that into the tentpole franchise. And that's what they might do, because again, the 80s nostalgia, they want the original Ghostbusters, or at least some connection to the original Ghostbusters. And
the whole idea that people just want things to fail is ridiculous. Everybody wants a new one. I mean, no one wants it to fail, like on any of these things. Like, I mean, everybody was really excited, like for She-Ra example, when they heard it was going to come out. Everybody was thrilled to death. They didn't want it to do bad. They don't go into it wanting it to do bad. But you just don't stray too far from the original material, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, when you've got so many people rooting for a proper sequel. Now, I mean, I'd say, well, okay, the Ghostbusters are all getting too old to do it, but you look at all these other franchises and sequels that they're making now. I mean, they're making another Indiana Jones, for crying out loud. Harrison Ford's like almost 80 years old, So it's possible to do, especially if the film is, if you want to create a true franchise, have the Ghostbusters, pass the torch to another generation.
I'm sorry. All I kept thinking when you were saying that was, and Harrison Ford's almost 80. That's because he drank the long life vodka from the Crystal Skull. That's what he
drank the vodka. But yeah, so I think it actually could happen this time. I really do. Like Geeky was saying, you see so much renewed interest in the original Ghostbusters. People are going to sort of wash the memory of 2016 out of their minds and move on.
Yeah, I agree.
So, okay, we got any other thoughts on Ghostbusters?
Nope. If you haven't played the game yet,
play the game. Track it down.
You can, play it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth your time. It's good. It's a good game. It's a really good game. And the Wii version was very different from the Xbox. The Wii version had like a more cartoony style.
Yeah, the Xbox one was the one you want.
Yeah, the Xbox one definitely.
It was Xbox One, not Xbox One.
No,
it was 360, wasn't it?
Yeah, 360.
Yeah, it wasn't Xbox One, but you have to be careful how you say it. The Xbox One. That wasn't for one, is the one you want.
Okay. So, subscribe to Clownfish TV for more pop culture news, views, and rants, art videos, gaming videos, and more. Hit the bell for notifications and make sure you know when we upload videos and go live. You don't want to miss a rant.
Nope.
You don't want to miss a rant. They're better live.
I try.
Okay, guys. This has been Neon and Geeky.
Bye.
Goodbye.